a rising number of people getting ER treatment for tick bites. Now, ticks can cause serious illnesses like Lyme disease. CBS News medical contributor Dr. Celine Gounder, editor-at-large for public health at KFF Health News, is here to show us how to protect ourselves. Good morning.
Good morning.
I always ask you all these health questions in the green room. I get to do it on TV right now. So let's start with, why are we seeing the rise?
I think what we really need to understand is that the planet's health impacts our health. So we are having milder winters, wetter springs, which means for longer tick breeding seasons. We're also seeing ticks move into geographic areas where we have not seen them before. And all of this adds up to more tick exposure and more tick bites.
We were all talking about this, right? You know, you go, you walk your dog, you come back, you got all the ticks. What happens if I get bit and it's left untreated?
Well, some of this depends on where you live. So it depends on what ticks are in the geographic area where you are. For example, the black-legged tick, also known as the deer tick, that's what transmits Lyme disease. You have the American dog tick, which transmits Rocky Mountain spotted fever, which is actually one of the scariest, most dangerous of these tick-borne diseases. And then you have the Lone Star tick, which transmits something called, or causes an allergy to red meat called alpha-gal syndrome. And no, this is not a woke virus. This actually does cause a red meat allergy, which is kind of a bummer if you develop that.
What can we do to protect ourselves? Because we were saying if you go in the woods, you go near high grass, anything, there's the fear that it might be there.
Yeah, so first of all, long sleeves, long pants, long socks underneath. Light clothing is helpful because then you can spot the dark ticks against it. Makes it a lot easier to check yourself afterwards. You might be wanting to use certain repellents. So the EPA has a list of registered repellents that work against ticks, but some of the common ones that you might recognize, DEET, so 20 to 30% DEET, Picardin, but there are a host of others that you can use as well. And then you can treat your clothing, your gear with permethrin. You don't want to use that on your skin, but on clothing and gear can also help repel ticks.
So luckily I live on the mean streets of New York City, but what should someone do if they do find a tick? There's a very specific way that you're supposed to pull them out if they've already embedded themselves in your skin.
Well, and by the way, we can find ticks in Central Park and other parks in New York City.
So
that's not a protection. So I have dogs. I do check my dogs. Pets can absolutely bring the ticks indoors too, so check your pets. And then if you find a tick, whether it's on you or your pet, you should be using fine tip tweezers. Grab it as close to the skin as possible and pull it straight out. You don't want to leave any parts left behind in the skin. And then you want to clean it with alcohol. Now, if the tick's been there for 24 hours or more, it may have transmitted Lyme disease in particular, in which case you may want to ask your doctor, do you need a treatment of antibiotic? Doxycycline is what we usually give in these cases to prevent you from getting Lyme disease.
All right. I'm still more afraid of pizza rat, but it's good advice. Dr. Celine Gounder, always good to have you.